Mental health is important. You don't have to be diagnosed to be mentally unhealthy. Listen, I
Speaks.
I can't believe that I have to say this. And even when I was making this quote, I couldn't believe that I had to make this quote. This is, you can say, a part two to my last video about mental health. It's important, it's serious. We know this now in 2022. However, back in 2019, people were still taking it for joke, especially in the Caribbean. Oh, don't get me started on mental health and my Caribbean people. But you know what? I ain't even gonna target them today. I'm just here to reiterate what I said in my last video, as well as specifically emphasize the fact that you don't have to be diagnosed. See, there is this thing that back in the day we used to call it attention deficit disorder, right? ADD, where you just can't keep still and you can't pay attention. You can't sit still. You got to just do what you got to do, right? And you want to do whatever you want to do when you want to do it. Now, when I say it like that, it sounds pretty normal, right? Now it's called attention deficit hyper disorder, ADHD, where a child, it's usually children, that is extraordinarily hyper and active. They seem to not have the same amount of capability to sit still like other children that might be in a classroom. Most of the times, that's when you can find out and realize that a child, has an attention deficit. Now, my belief is that it is real, but it is not as common as we would like to believe. Now, this is only because these are children we're talking about. I mean, as adults, we don't want to sit down and listen to somebody talk, especially if it's boring to us. We don't want to sit down and listen to what you gotta say. Man, you better send me a text or something or put it in a 7-second video. But there are some people who have really deep stuff like depression. Depression is another real one that anyone of any age can experience. And especially for us in the Caribbean, we like to just say, oh, this person just said, or they just in their feelings, they just feel some type of way about something. It's almost as if, especially when you're Black, it's as if you are not allowed to feel anything but happy. What happens then is you kind of get mixed up in the dismissive attitude of everything that is mental. You get some people who just refuse to accept that there might be something up here, right? And then you have some people who actually do have something up here, like some type of deficit or disorder or dysfunction or syndrome or whatever, and they might actually get out of it. They might just need some extra attention, some extra work and all that. And then they go into denial. No, I was never slow. I was never this. I was never that. So now, even though you got help, because you weren't officially diagnosed, you figure it's better to just deny all allegations and say, nah, that was me. And I understand, there is a certain level of stigmatism that comes with having some type of mental illness and actually being diagnosed with that mental illness. I understand it. I really do. However, it's important to not carry on this premise, this idea that ain't nothing wrong. Because if and when it happens again to someone else, you are perpetuating this attitude towards it. So now you got help, but someone who was in your position will not receive the help because you carried on the same attitude that other people had towards you. And now that you got better, you don't want to help other people. There's a parable. Listen, there's a Bible example for literally everything in life. There is a parable in the Bible called the Good Samaritan. There's this guy who got robbed and beat up and all of that stuff, and he was on the side of the road. Now he didn't affiliate himself with everyone. He had certain affiliations that didn't coincide or sit well with other people that was walking that same street. So people was just crossing the street and just leaving him there, beat up, broke up, bruised and damaged and robbed, right? until the Samaritan comes across. Now, the Samaritan was a sworn enemy. He was supposed to do what everyone else did, cross the road and all of that. However, this is why they call him a good Samaritan. He didn't cross the road. He actually went and helped. My point of bringing up that parable is that the people before the good Samaritan do what we do today, where even if we might have gotten affected by something, especially if it was mental, something that you could possibly hide or is not plain to see by everyone, we just act like, yeah, everything's straight. We cool. Nah, we good. Nah. Even if you know you had a struggle at some point, you just say to yourself and to others, nah, it's straight. It was never that. I'm cool. I was always cool. And don't worry, yeah, you can be all right. Don't worry about it. You can be all right. And you carry it on, even though you got better. You refuse to help someone else. And to be honest, that part there, I cannot fathom why someone would do that. Because to me, I like to help people. I feel like I'm helping people right now. You know, I could never tell for sure. However, the point that I'm making in this video is that you don't have to be mentally diagnosed. And even if you are not mentally diagnosed, if you know that there was a problem and you got to solve that problem and you know or have some ideas of how to solve that problem, and then you see someone else with that problem, please help that person with that problem. I know I said problem a lot of times just now, and I want you to know that you knowing that there is a problem and choosing not to help with that problem is a problem. So by not helping the problem, you create another problem. Now we got two problems. You keeping count? You keeping count? There are a lot of problems in the world, and what we need is problem solvers, not more problems and problem creators. So no, you don't have to be mentally diagnosed. And you don't necessarily have to have a degree in this thing to offer some help. Worst they could tell you is no.